IVM.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 42 of the Fighting G.O.A.T, where my host and host Arjun aka Mystic Chips is on the studio with me.
In the studio, baby.
And Somesh, the Superhuman Kamra. We are going to be speaking a lot about what happened at UFC 269. A lot of controversy, a lot of bakchodi.
Bakchodi, yeah.
After the short commercial break.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Advertising is Dead, Varun Dugirala talks to Divyanshu Damani, co-founder and CEO at Tag Mango. The two discuss how content creators can monetize their content, going beyond the traditional ads and brand deals. On The Habit Coach, Ashton is in conversation with Ashna Modi, clinical psychologist at ASA Wellness. They discuss the habit of deservability and gratitude. On Probation Se Promotion Tak, host Abhinav talks about business networking and teaches us how to enhance those networking skills. On The Longest Constitution, Priya gives us a peek into the history of caste-based discrimination and how our constitution is committed to overcoming that. And on The Musafir Stories, the hosts are joined by author and poet Mihir Vatsa. They discover the plateau town of Hazaribagh. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And also do check out our YouTube channels. We have a number of them. You can get them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And remember, if you're enjoying this show, or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. It really does help us spread the word. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors for the network this week, Cred, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Guys, welcome back to episode 42 of the Fighting G.O.A.T, where we are in the studio. Chips, it took us 42 episodes to get here.
42 episodes to finally look at my producer, Surohini, and find out that Bichari has not been eating. She has not been eating, and she definitely, I'm going to, it's Panchmukhi is the kind of place that you take people to make them whole again.
Yes.
And I think we need to find our Bandra equivalent. I think we spoke to one of our bosses and they told us there's a Sheetal Bar nearby.
Sheetal Bar, yes.
Sheetal Bar is the place to go to.
Absolutely.
I've realized this. So, SJ, you will be with us, joining us at Sheetal Bar.
Absolutely.
But it's so good. It's so good to be in the IVM studios.
It is.
Lovely. A muscular wall and all. It's nice. And the toys up there. It's good entertainment for me simultaneously.
That's a little cheesy out there with the color and the toys and all that. But
I like it. But there's no UFC toy or no MMA toys up there.
I know, but they are coming in because they get shipped from
now.
the US of A. But before we speak of that, let's get into what happened in UFC 269 and all the drama that unfolded out there.
No, I don't know. It's where do I begin? Firstly, we were in the studios with Sony.
Yes.
We opened the show and we closed the show from India. And here's the funny part. They call me Mystic Chips for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I predict some fights. But I would have never ever... I jokingly said that Juliana Peña would win. There was no weight behind it, really.
Well, there was actually. There was a little bit of weight behind it.
There was a lot of weight behind it, technically. But my point is, I when I said it, we all knew. Like, come on. Like, we gave her, like, earlier we talked about it. It's the most unlikely people you don't expect that will dethrone some of the greatest people in the world.
Right.
It happened to Anderson Silva. It was Chris Weidman. But a lot of people didn't give him a chance.
Right.
But he came with that attitude saying, you know what, screw you, I'm not scared.
Correct.
I don't give a crap. I'm going to come in and do what I have to do.
Correct.
And he knocked out. But it's not like Anderson was getting trashed before he lost. He was cocky and he was fooling around too much and he got caught.
But that's typically what happens when you've got 16 straight fights, 12 fight defenses. Does it normally happen where you lose focus and you kind of take your opponent a little lightly?
No, I mean, it's somebody like Silva, he brings in that showboating angle into his fighting.
Correct.
Because he'll break you, he'll make you nervous, he'll break you, he'll make you second guess yourself. And then, bang, then he lands his shots, he lands his counters.
Right.
And he was doing that. We saw a lot, but we saw a little too much showboating from him, I think.
Correct.
Like he was doing a lot of chutiagiri.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think it catches up to you. But Amanda got outstruck, outgrappled, and outclassed.
Well, that was one of the shocking results which had happened in UFC 269, where Amanda Nunes has lost her bantamweight belt to the new champion, Juliana Peña.
Juliana Peña, no, what can I say?
Yeah. Well, another fighter who put his money on the block in that fight card was Sean O'Malley. who took out Paiva.
Oh, guys, when we are growing up now, there was always these fighters, there are these cricketers, these sporting icons that we look forward to. We put up posters on the walls.
Yeah.
So, guys, you must know, Sugar Sean O'Malley is one of those, is the Britney Spears for Somesh ka. Like when I was growing up, when I was 15, I had Britney Spears ka photo on the wall.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Hit me, baby, one more time. You want to hit him many, many times, but that's a different story. But it's one of those, is that one of those relationships, that you have with him?
Yeah.
Where you truly love someone to the point where you don't care what happens to you anymore.
Yeah.
Where you give your heart and your soul to them. I'm sorry, this is Love Beats with Dr. Dre and Mr. Kamra now sitting here. Sorry for the rubbish intrusion, but my point is, dude, you can't say anything about him anymore. Yeah,
man, he's
doing what he's doing.
He's going out there. He's exactly doing what he's supposed to do, and he's doing it how? He said round 1, I'm going to finish this guy.
He never said the round.
I think he said it, like in UFC Embedded. He said round 1, the Brazilian is going down.
Yeah. Paiva.
And that's exactly what happened.
But tell me something, don't you think Paiva looks like a IIT and JEE topper?
Well, he does, and he did.
He looks like a full JEE topper. You guys have to check him out. Check out his photo. If you have it later, you just see it. Now, we're not mocking him. When he came on the scale, I'm like, seriously? This boy looks fine. He's from Bhandup. I swear to God, he's not from Brazil. I'm sorry, I'm not being racist. But see, we are also brown. We can say a little bit.
Absolutely.
There's no brown on brown violence.
But, what really surprised me is that Charles Oliveira, the main event of UFC 269, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier for the lightweight belt, it yet again spanned out exactly how the Khabib fight happened.
UFC 242.
UFC 242, which was in Abu Dhabi. At the same time, Dustin Poirier hurt Charles Oliveira. He was hurt in round number 1. Dustin's boxing was absolutely on point.
Always.
But what happened? I mean, round 2 and round 3, he just kind of shut down.
No, it's, there are a couple of theories here. It's sometimes when you prepare for a fight that you think you want to be patient. You want to take into deeper waters.
Yes.
You want to drag the fight across all the 5 rounds.
Yes.
And there's another point. It's very difficult to generate a lot of momentum when you're moving backwards.
Yes.
It's, when you lean forward for a punch, your front foot comes out.
Yeah.
Your left or right foot comes out. Your hips turn and you move and your shoulders move forward.
Right.
But when you're moving backwards, your weight is on your heels. And you're countering.
Yeah.
And you're punching backwards. Very few people in the world can do that.
Yes.
Silva was a master at it.
Yes.
John Jones can counter moving backwards.
Like Conor definitely was one of them.
Conor was a master of countering moving backwards. He could go forward and backwards. He had the same power in his left going back and forth. Now, you've seen Poirier's style. He's like a gritty, makes it nasty. Until
Dirty
you start
boxing.
bleeding, dirty, makes that fight dirty. He wants to make it ugly.
Yeah.
Land hooks to the body. The kind of hooks he lands to the body will make you piss blood for the next week.
Yes.
And so he couldn't do that kind of fight because Charles pushed forward. Nobody expected Charles to come forward so quickly.
Right.
And that Muay Thai was so sexy.
Yeah. Those knees to the midsection.
So nice.
Really just
Alistair
crippled.
Overeem was crying and all. Beta, tune acha kiya.
Lower weight category. But it was so good. It was so good.
It was something to see.
What a mega pay-per-view to end the year.
Mega pay-per-view, but we're going to talk about the mega stuff that happened after the fight. I mean, Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz started their rubbish simultaneously. And then Nate, of course, Conor, you can't stop Conor from talking.
Yeah, nobody can. Nobody can.
He's like, oh, ye to repeat tha. You got choked out the same way. How embarrassing. This, that, and the other. I know he's angling for a 4th fight.
And the best part is, it's Conor who's actually advising Dustin Poirier that you didn't put the hooks in. You didn't do this. You were on your back.
That's crazy.
Like a BJJ black belt.
I got to give, but you know what? In that sense, the amount of time, like in that Khabib fight, Conor survived underneath Khabib for a much longer time than both Gaethje and Poirier put together.
Yes,
he did. You got to give him props. It took him forever to get him down.
He stuffed his takedowns.
Yeah, he stuffed his takedowns once or twice. And that's the thing. And it's, styles make fights.
Yes.
And now everybody's going to look at this and say, okay, Poirier's back is weak. We're going to take him, we're going to get him into a rear naked choke, etc.
Right.
Of course, you have to weather that storm first.
Right.
You have to get past the boxing. And Charles, he sported a fucking chin, man.
Yeah. But, that gets me to the second point where do you think that someone like a Gaethje, if he cracks Charles that way, do you think it could actually end the era of Charles Oliveira?
No, firstly, Gaethje won't crack Charles that way. I don't think he can because Gaethje moves differently. He lands a lot of these front leg kicks, which he uses to break down his opponent. But again, it's the same thing that we saw against Khabib. The more you forward pressure these guys, the harder it gets.
Right.
Because these guys also take time to get going. You
Right.
see, the same thing happened with Chandler. Chandler cracked Gaethje early, almost finished the fucking fight.
Yeah.
And I think Charles has reached a point now where his striking has become so good.
Yeah.
He can do and throw. You saw the amount of front kicks he was throwing?
Yes,
Nobody
was.
expected the shots
He
to the
was.
body that way.
Yes.
And then the
And
minute
those elbows,
in the
you know?
clinch, man, in the clinch, the minute he got in the clinch, he punished him.
Correct.
People were saying, oh, he got buggered up and all that. Yeah, he did, but he took those punches.
He
dude.
took those punches. He was physically
Exactly.
more damaged, but it is what it is. That's a fighting style that we've seen in the past. Like someone like a Fedor. Fedor should take enough punishment out there to give equivalent punishment in the subsequent rounds.
Exactly.
So I mean, it was fun. What a great contest.
And I was reading somewhere online, and these morons were like, oh, Charles can't be put into the GOAT conversation because he's had 10 losses in his life. I'm like, to kya hua?
But
Since when did staying undefeated become such a important thing? It's all that Khabib group of people.
But
I mean, I don't want to sound so horribly biased, but you know what I mean. It's sometimes it's not the team or the player. They're the fans that are worse than them.
yes,
Like Man United fans are the worst in the world.
Yeah.
It's like vegans at a barbecue. They will tell you, "Hi, I'm vegan." No, bola, पूछा ही नहीं कुछ तो भी. Man United fans, दूर से, "Hi, I'm Man United fan."
like who gives
Nobody fucking asked you, yaar. It's fucking Bandra Boys versus East Vadala playing. Why Man United here in the middle? Chaunt.
Yeah, but I think Mystic Chips is just going off. The studio energy is just getting to him today.
There's a little bit of a racist angle also coming out.
And I think
But be a little careful now.
that's why having the black coffee.
Black. All dressed in all black and all. Our producers also told us that we have a big photo shoot coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Now?
Without alcohol. That.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to happen. But she said told me that there was actually a drinks trolley that was being passed around.
That was
So
just to get you here.
No, correct. So I was dreaming of the madmen from the 50s. You've seen that scene now with the drinks trolley, cigars, smoking and all. I'm like, kadak yaar, mic in hand, talking trash, drinks, food. I'm like, I can do this all day. Alas, I was misled.
Yeah.
But, but apart from that, I mean, we had all the trash talk on social media.
Yeah.
Poirier was in... I can understand he's heartbroken, man.
Yeah.
2 shots at that belt. He's not getting a chance anytime soon.
No chance.
There
Yeah.
are too many contenders in that division. You got guys like
Islam Makhachev and Benil Dariush that's
who are
coming
fighting
up.
each other soon.
Yeah, like
now
in Feb.
next is Gaethje. So
Yeah.
Gaethje is going to come to that dance. And let's never forget Chandler is always in the mix.
Correct.
The Conor is always in the mix.
Correct.
You never know when these guys will come in and step in.
Well, the way Chandler finished Dan Hooker, it just showed that you cannot take power lightly.
Dude, he almost finished Gaethje. He
yes.
almost finished Charles.
Yes.
I think that left hook that hit Charles was worse than anything Poirier hit him with.
Correct.
And I see a lot of, that one punch knockout power is something you can't teach, man.
Yes, but you know what?
Can't
In fact,
teach.
very, very few fighters actually possess that, and very few fighters land it that way. Like someone like a Conor lands it flush. Someone like, Mike Chandler lands it flush. Gaethje doesn't land it flush all the time, but he throws this flurry.
But dude, Gaethje, see the way he hit Tony Ferguson, okay? I have never seen a man get hit that badly in my life.
Correct.
I mean, that was a pounding that brought flashbacks.
Correct, but also because the head movement of Ferguson was not at par. There
was no head movement.
He was just not moving his head.
Straight. It was like punching a bag.
Absolutely.
He was there and he hit him with everything that he
was
had.
just a sitting target out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, but that's the thing. Now we're going to find out if firstly Gaethje is in his next in line.
Yes, thankfully.
That should be around mid 2022.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Oliveira will take a few weeks, at least a month off for chutti wutti and all.
Right.
Dance in Brazil and all, thoda sa on the road with his fire brigade supporting him. Hey, that's cool, man. If our fire brigade came and said, chalo, why not? I'll also dance. Yeah?
Why not? Like, bus nahi hai, but
मैं
fire
तो
brigade ke upar
रास्ते
aao.
पे जा रहा था. No, I'll sing all the songs, no problem. No, so there's going to be a bit of a break anyway.
Yeah.
Now, maybe hopefully the focus will shift to, maybe the other weight divisions.
Correct.
Because I honestly think featherweight, bantamweight and lightweight has been carrying, this whole year.
Yes.
The entire buzz.
Yes.
Guys like Yuri Prohaska have disappeared into the jhards of wherever they come from. Seriously, he stays in the jungle.
Yeah, he does.
Why?
He does. It's a very interesting
I think he doesn't want to fight
lifestyle
also.
that he has,
He has interesting lifestyle. But we'd love to see that lifestyle come and change and come back into training again.
Right.
Because there's been no contact. Been no contact.
We'll have to ask Sean Shelby
I have to ask Sean Shelby.
as to where is this man gone.
We'll have to ask Sean Shelby. And we've got a lot of things coming up with or without Sean Shelby in the future. But that being said, let's quickly move on to our next segment. But before that, We take a quick commercial break. You've been listening to Chips and Kamra only on IVMPodcast.com inside the IVM studios. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders and change makers from across business, media, marketing and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcasts website, app or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That was a great commercial break. Chips, how many commercials are there in that break? So many.
A lot of commercials.
Yeah?
A lot of commercials.
Paisa chhap rahe log.
Now, I don't know if Paisa chapping or not is happening, but still.
But
a lot of commercials indeed.
There was a very interesting conversation that we were having on our way to the studio about how the sport of MMA has been constantly evolving from where it started in 93 to the takeover of UFC.
The changing landscape, basically.
The changing landscape, the rules, how they're treating the sport, how they're going from big arenas to smaller arenas, but they're keeping it alive. They're changing so many things about the sport to keep it alive, to move forward and to make it an absolute dhamaka. That's the reason why Dana White is considered as one of the best promoters in the world. That is why this is considered as the fastest growing sport in the world, because you can adapt. It's not like, you can go, you can't play cricket in a smaller pitch or in a smaller stadium. There needs to be a certain size to it and all of that.
22 yards, I think. 22 yards or 24 yards?
24 yards. Yeah,
24 yards.
I think it's 24 yards. But the fact that you can change the format, you can change the octagon size, you can change the arena, you can have no audience, any of that. It can still work.
Correct.
So the changing landscape, how is it affecting us? How we've been entertained? How, I think 2019 was when there were, 10 million viewers to the UFC only in India?
Yeah, when somebody talks about the ever-changing landscape, is we started off with fans that were so niche to the sport.
As in so niche or so niche?
No, not so niche. I'm talking about 2005, 2006.
Right.
When I started watching. And this was almost at the end of when Pride was there. And I would pride myself as one of those fans that were like, oh shit, only I know the sport.
Correct.
Like this Chomoy, you don't know what the you're talking about.
Correct.
And then I still do the same thing. Yeah. But the sport has changed because it's the commercialization of anything,
Right.
Which has a good side and a bad side.
Right.
The bad side was that you don't feel special anymore for knowing the sport. Because that was the only good angle that was there. But the good thing is that the commercialization has led to so many new jobs opening up in the sector.
Yes.
The amount of people that are joining the sport, even for the visibility of it. Like I met someone, like my niece and nephew, went for their first taekwondo class.
Oh, nice.
And my nephew said, I showed him a video of, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he found that more interesting.
Oh, wow.
So it's the fact that there are classes opening up in India about this, which are not reserved for, say, just the actors and the film stars.
Right.
That we see. There are a couple of gyms, that are dedicated for, you see, they're only for pro athletes and stuff.
Right.
I've said this about any sport, Cricket in India is so predominant, we are so dominant in cricket because we start at a grassroots level.
Correct.
Since the age of 4, you can play cricket.
Correct.
You got the Venkasarkar Academy, you got X, Y, Z.
Correct.
And by the time you're of a certain age, you're ready to go pro. You got a strong amateur level, you got strong Ranji trophy. And by the time, like how Kohli came up the ranks.
Correct.
And he won
So the structure is very solid.
Yes, structure is very solid. And I think slowly that's what I mean by when we see the ever-changing world of MMA.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just the level of fighters going up. It's not the dedication in the fight game. There are upsides and downsides to it that we talk about as well.
Correct.
It's no longer that money blood sport.
Correct.
But there are guys who are coming
Which we enjoyed.
God, I loved it, man. जब तक खून नहीं दिखा तब तक पैसा नहीं.
जब तक आदमी नहीं मरेगा, मैं पैसा नहीं डालूंगा.
Yeah. No, it's like Drago. If he dies, he dies mentality. And we stopped seeing that because till 2005, till 2010, we saw that.
Yeah.
Or little more. Till 2015, we saw that. And then at the same time, you've got two sides to it, right?
Yeah.
You've got the guys who are training to be athletes.
Correct.
And GSP was one of the athletes that came out.
Right.
The first uber popular athletes.
Correct.
That gave birth to, many more athletes that are coming out.
Right.
And then you've got the Just Bleed guys, where you've got the Poiriers and the
Wanderlei Silvas and
the old school guys, though, they were all Just Bleed.
Yeah, they were all Just Bleed.
There was no difference. Like if you see, you remember the stare downs today. Like the stare downs today, some of them some are genuine, some are fake.
Yeah.
But whereas when you saw Wanderlei Silva and
Quinton
Krokop
Rampage.
stare down.
Yeah.
Like Wanderlei Silva was called the axe murderer for a reason.
Yes.
And this guy would win half his fights because of those stare downs. But then when you're staring down somebody who is the head of an anti-terrorism commando elite unit,
Yes.
where you know this man has actually killed people, you're not winning that stare down.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at him saying, you talk about killing people, I've killed people.
Yeah.
I just killed people and came. Abhi, तो खून साफ करके आया हूँ मैं life में.
Right.
And it's that sport is changing. You're not getting those kind of guys coming in now.
So the entire attitude was just played.
Yeah, the attitude was just bleed.
Correct.
That guy should be immortalized in a museum himself with the tattooing that just bleed on his chest. No, but my point is that it's not just the fighters, it's the sport. It's the mentality towards the sport.
Correct.
That's
correct.
It's becoming a lot.
And it
more.
also comes down to longevity. You don't want to get hurt so much that your career ends in about say 3 to 4 years. You want to go for 8, 9, 10 years. You want the sponsorships, you want the fame, you want to have like at least a 10-year career. Because see, let's be honest, in a combat sport where you physically get hit, the lifespan is anyways less. It's not like a cricket or a football or an NBA, where you can play till your body is actually there, peaking like in performance.
Yeah.
But here, because you're getting hit all the time, there's always going to be that stop block where after a while you will say, listen, I'm done with this. I'm mentally done, I'm physically done, I'm whatever done. So maybe fighters are getting a little smarter towards their career, but is that entertaining for the sport? Is it going in the direction where you would like to see it?
I don't know. See, you're seeing two sides of it again.
Yeah.
It's on the one hand, we see Bkfc, which is Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship,
Yes.
which has gone 10 years behind.
Yeah.
Which has literally regressed into the primal side of fighting.
Correct.
Which is also dangerous because you saw deaths in that.
Which is no gloves.
Which is just hand wraps to protect your bones. That's it.
Yes.
And that also, even with hand wraps, you can break your hand so easily.
Correct.
Even with gloves, you can break your hand.
Correct.
One shot lands in an elbow or something, you're screwed, man. Your hand
I'm
goes
actually
numb.
wondering, how did any commission come up with actually sanctioning this event?
I don't know. That's the funny part. I just don't know how they've managed to sanction it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny because
And there are big names there. So there's Gabriel Gonzaga that is there. There's
you had Julian Lane. You've got
there's
Mike
Bigfoot
Perry
Silva
coming in now.
Bigfoot Silva.
And also they seem to have deep pockets.
Yeah, they do.
Because have you forgotten Paige Van Zandt?
Paige Van Zandt is there.
Such a awesome. She was a former UFC fighter, Invicta UFC.
You're right.
And then decided to take the money and go into bare knuckle fighting.
Unbelievable.
Like that's crazy.
Where she lost.
But she's been also losing.
Yeah.
But
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And that bare knuckle fighting, so there's no grappling involved. It's just
It's
swinging at each other.
Yes. It's, as you rightly said, it is actually going back about 15 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's gone back in that era of pride, but just with raps. But anyways, let's get back to the topic. What do you think about the sport? With the constant change of rules, with the fighters taking a different approach, some of them are going the flamboyant way. We've never seen fighters who are focusing so much on the money and the Rolls Royce and the suits and all of that. So much change and happening so quickly.
But at the same time, you got your Aldos and your Oliveiras who are still staying in their small homes in Brazil. Because it's that, it's that iron sharpens iron mentality.
Right.
Which says, even you look at Brandon Moreno.
Yes.
The first is such a cute kid. The first thing he did was he went to the Lego store and bought, I think he spent like $500 or $1,000. I mean, the guy's
Lego.
a multi-millionaire champion now. And he went, instead of buying fancy cars and suits, he went and spent $1,000 on Lego.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a sweet, cute kid, man. Killer.
So
Absolute killer.
Humble, down to earth, I mean,
it's changing, as much as you have the brash newcomers, like your favorite Sean O'Malley that's out there, who,
Sugar.
who is the epitome of, brashness.
Greatness.
Face tattoos and but what I like about it is he's got the skills to back it up. He's talking trash. That's the thing. It's that you will love to hate him, but there are fans who love him as well. And you will still watch him.
Well,
no matter what.
Well, absolutely, yes. Because, people like me would want to watch him lose.
Correct.
And that's exactly what we saw with Marlon Chito Vera.
Yes, and that was your happiest day.
That was my happiest moment
ever. Shadi wadi bhul jao. Yeah. I mean, this was the happiest day in your life. When you saw him go down because of that.
Absolutely, because of leg kicks.
Yeah, it was that one leg kick. Even Paiva threw one leg kick and he changed stances. That's the thing. But it's that range, man. Yeah. It's that range. You can't get in underneath that.
He's proving to be a money fighter, but he's one of the guys. As you rightly said, what about the Aldos and the Oliveiras and the Paivas and the Morenos who are taking a completely different approach? It's a very purest, realistic, sticking to the ground, grassroots level kind of approach.
But see, when you talk about change, it has to be change on every level.
Yeah.
And it's, when you look at change from the fans, you look change from organizers, you look at the sport. It used to happen in the back rooms of casinos.
Yeah.
And now it's a full-fledged,
Business.
owned by a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I mean, the UFC exchanged hands a couple of years ago, and it was sold for $4 billion.
Yeah, $4.2 billion.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, see how the sport has gone up. The companies, big brands, big broadcast companies are attaching themselves to it. I mean, Viacom supports Bellator.
Correct.
Viacom is one of the biggest houses in the world.
Yes.
And you've got the UFC being aired on Fox, on Sony in India, on ESPN in the US, on pay-per-view platforms. It's changing. The entire perception of fighting is changing. The perception of MMA is changing. The kind of fans that are coming into it are changing. It's not just the crazy psychotic people who are getting into the sport. I mean, I'm not saying we are crazy psychotic, but I won't deny it also.
Yeah.
If somebody called me a little crazy and bloodthirsty, alcoholic and MMA crazy, sure.
Why not?
not? You hit the money on the head, bro. See, photographer dal de wahan, bas khatam.
What I was getting at is, there is this dynamic which is coming into the sport of mixed martial arts where organizations are now putting in money into these performance institutes. So,
True.
When there's
You mean to promote the sport?
To promote the sport, to groom talent.
Yes.
It's usually not happened in most sports primarily because they are government run. So, when it comes to cricket, yes, of course, cricket is very, very big. So they obviously have their, their individual training academies. Football, I don't know whether they have a training.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Every football team across the world, in every smaller place has got, not only do they have government backing for football, but they have private backing for football as well. Every team, like for example, when I was living in Milan in Italy, and we would go out to play football with my roommates and stuff. And I remember these 4-5 kids were playing, and we were like, chal, we'll play. And I'm like, what? We were 22, 21.
Right.
And these kids were like 14, 15. I said, we'll play.
Right.
Now, I didn't expect to get our asses kicked that badly because I was in great shape then. But dude, of course, we smoked and drank. No? So we were puffing up and down after like 10 minutes on the pitch, trying to find lungs and all. Kidhar gir gaya bahar and all that. And these kids were doing laps around us. I'm like, what the? And then later they told us, oh, we're in the under 14 team for the AC Milan. I'm like, no wonder.
You
water ringer.
Yeah.
No, basically, it's like playing gully cricket when having Virat Kohli play with you.
Yeah.
It's cheating. Hai. How did I know now we had such ace players coming to play?
Right.
But that's what I mean. All these countries have got... Football is too big. It's the biggest sport in the world.
Right.
So it's got backing in every way. But MMA, I think, slowly, steadily. It may not be just MMA together, but boxing has a lot of government funding.
Right.
Like that's why boxing is more popular in India. Wrestling has got government funding.
Right.
And little by little, I think these sports are gaining... Like, for example, you told me that there was in Navi Mumbai, there was a jiu-jitsu tournament.
There was, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it on Locker Room.
Yeah, the All India Nationals happened in Navi Mumbai, which is excellent. It was very well organized.
There you go. So the fact that there is a growing trend in these individual sports is what is bringing attention to MMA anyway.
Right. But what I was pretty much aiming at is the fact that private organizations are setting up institutes to groom talent. And I think that is such a positive because there is an institute by Jindal called Jindal Sport Academy or something of the sort where they groom athletes only for the Olympics. So
Fantastic.
For all Olympics. And it's a privately run institute.
So taekwondo, karate, wrestling,
boxing,
everything.
wrestling, everything. They almost spend 100 crores on setup.
That's mental.
That's
good. That's finally good.
And it's got lodging, boarding, staying, training, everything out there.
So basically, the athlete just needs to focus on his work.
He just needs to show up.
That's it. And then you've got coaches and everybody coming and taking care of you.
Everybody, So this entire attitude towards combat sports, and out there, let me tell you, there are Cuban coaches for boxing.
So international coaches have come.
There are Cuban coaches, there are Australian, strength and conditioning guys. So this entire approach to combat sports, which is changing with the UFC setting up performance institutes, Bellator wants to do that. So do you think that is going to favor this sport in any way? Do you think that, yes, we are going to develop talent? Yes, these institutes are going to be used for other purposes like, the Olympics, like all of that, because they're state of the art.
Of course. It's going to develop talent. But the trouble here is that, if you look at countries that come from a fighting culture, we come from a culture of satyagraha. No offense to anybody. Our country is divided terribly.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
If you look, the colder you go up north, that's where our Jawans come from.
Correct.
They come from that warrior spirit. That's why they're part of our army, our military, our navy,
Yes.
everything. You
Yes.
see a lot of northerners going there. That's why you see a lot of boxing that has happened in that part of
Some
India.
insane boxing.
Some insane. You see I keep seeing, I keep going during these tournaments, and the kind of quality talent that comes out from North India is incredible.
Correct.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a disparity. Whereas you compare to South America, the whole country has that craze.
Correct.
You go to Brazil, all the Brazilians love jiu-jitsu and
It's
Muay Thai.
basically football, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai.
Football. Yeah, correct. This is your career trajectory. If you're born poor, you're firstly going out for football because
Yes.
that's the best way to get out.
Yeah.
Because some government body will pick you up and then
Yes.
hopefully post you into one of those national teams.
Yes.
That's number one. If you can't do that, you end to become an athlete.
Correct.
And if you can't do that, then I guess you study. I mean, if you want to, if you can reach the school,
Right.
because if you're born in Bahia or Curitiba or something, you're pretty much
It's going to be
Yeah.
trouble.
I mean, I have seen Man on Fire and the other movies and stuff.
So
So the thing is that it is catching on, but in terms of fighting, not yet. A lot of people still in India. The trouble is that we grew up in a generation where it was padhai karo.
Correct.
It still is padhai karo. The amount of weight put in on getting a percentage is still so stupidly high.
Yes.
Do you remember what you studied? I don't have a clue. I mean, I remember thoda bahut.
BMM, yeah.
No. See, you studied BMM. I did what? Ecostats double major.
Correct.
I don't even remember.
Correct.
You asked me what is Ricardian theory of rent. I'd be like, Achha, okay, whatever. But my point is that we studied to pass. We never studied to learn.
Correct.
I don't remember. Until I did my master's, I didn't really pay attention because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I knew what I wanted to do when I was in college.
Right.
And I'm just saying is that, and after working with the UFC, after seeing the boxing, after working in the sport of fighting, and doing all kinds of combat sports, it made me realize that I wish I had gone into the sport, into that kind of sporting world earlier. I wish I had started boxing when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
I wish I'd started doing jiu-jitsu when I was 10. Because by the time I was 19, I could have become a pro in the sport.
But the good part is that generation that we are from, it may have not supported this ecosystem.
No, but tell me even now. Somesh, tell me now. I mean, let me look around. How many of your parents said sport first?
Yeah.
How many of your parents say, okay, no, dad, I want to do boxing? They'll be like, pagal ho gaya kya, padhai kar.
Correct.
It's never there unless you come from but in the north, it's encouraged.
Yeah.
You look at guys like Pawan Man, former fighter.
Yeah.
His kid is not even 8 and he's a champ. He's an ace. You see the way he's moving.
Right.
Incredible. And he's been groomed for it.
Yeah, but what I was trying to say is that, maybe the generation that is coming up now, so for example, our children will be encouraged to do sport.
We'll have to. But the sad part is the next generation want to be TikTok stars.
Yeah. That is why TikTok is banned.
Which is why TikTok should be banned. You know how old we sound now? Thank God this video. I'm not that old. Please, it's 38. I'll cut my hair, then I look better. No, but my point is, it's still not a go-to. Look at the US, for example.
Yeah.
Where they have NCAA Division 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
They've got junior college leagues. They've got
wrestling
school
programs
leagues.
and all of
the
that.
wrestling
Yeah.
programs, the football programs, the basketball programs, the baseball programs.
Yeah.
Anything, man. The sport, the weight put on sport. We are not going to generate great champ. Despite all our problems in India with regards to sport, cricket is still getting 99% of the budget.
True.
No matter what, cricket gets 99%. Look at broadcasting, cricket has all the
But
money.
also because it generates that kind of revenue. So
It generates, but until you start smaller programs to promote the rest of these sports and start putting the weight behind them, till families start putting, getting people to go into them, you're never going to, it's never going to get generated.
Very true. But I do feel that the attitude is changing. I do feel, that the parents, like the younger parents of today are making this
Personally, I
shift.
know a lot of parents are not having kids.
But the ones that are, definitely need to kind of look at this as an option because, I mean, come on, there is a new league called the Ultimate Karate League that is coming up on Sony.
Yeah, we saw the ads, I think, in the morning,
which
at
is
5 in the morning.
which is coming on Sony itself. And who thought, about 10 years back, like a sport like karate, which probably is dying out, would actually...
Karate is a point fighting sport.
Which would have a league.
I don't know, but you know what? We'll find out after one season how much weight it really has.
See, people say that about kabaddi, but it changed the landscape of kabaddi.
But kabaddi again, it went up and then it's gone down.
Yeah, but it still has.
It's still on TV, is what I mean.
Yeah, it still has the power behind it at the moment.
And I remember a couple of trainers from some telling me that kabaddi itself as a sport in North India is very, very popular.
It's very popular.
Like people have they call it raids. Every time you go across the line, it's called a raid.
Yeah.
And for every raid, people bet 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs. And it's not a joke. These guys have told me.
Yeah.
Like, they have that kind of money to burn.
Correct.
So I'm saying, let's not waste our time. Let's do this show in Punjab.
Yeah.
In Punjabi. So perhaps that every time we crack a joke, we get like 1 lakh and all. Acha ho jayega. And if you have to sit shirtless and sit in some mud and throw some mud at each other, we'll do it.
Why not?
What's there? It's like my old friend said, was saying, how these people run in the sun and all in the rain. He's like, abhi terko 50 lakh milega, tu bhi nanga nachega fit. That is the point. And with that being said, and we discussed, sorry for digressing, guys, but we discussed a lot of things in the ever-changing landscape of sporting, MMA, fighting, the works. But the good thing is that no matter how much it changes, the good will always supersede the bad.
Absolutely.
Always good will always supersede the bad. And that being said, lot more good things to come on our wonderful podcast called The Fighting Goat with Chips and Kamra. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short commercial break.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcasts. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 42 of The Fighting Goat, where we will be discussing the last fight card of the year.
Hey, yaar, mat uralao yaar. Last fight card.
Abhi hai to sahi.
Kya karega fir? Then what do we talk about on the podcast? Then they have to listen to us doing RR. I can't say what RR is on this show. Huh?
Well,
I'll get sued by two people.
Well, everybody knows what RR is, but
let us be creative. No one.
Let us focus on Let us focus on two guys who will not do RR. It's December 18th. That's going to happen. Achha. It is Derrick Lewis taking on Chris Dakos for the heavyweight. I was going to say championship. I was like, no, it's not a championship fight because there are so many championship fights coming.
You remember the last fight we called in the heavyweight division between Volkov and
oh God, you know what?
Mr. Kamra started laughing on a live telecast.
And
we had to cut.
This gentleman of ours, the gentleman to my right, was abusing the living daylights out of that fight. It was, I don't know, Volkov versus who? It was Volkov versus somebody.
Blades.
Oh, Curtis Blades. So boring. So for 15 minutes, I heard only so boring. And when the live broadcast started, he said, what an exciting fight it was.
It was so
I'm
bad.
like, you ass.
It was no man. Look, man. I will never say anybody who steps into the ring, you have my respect, but not those two. It was so they didn't touch each other, dude. I was like, maar to, thoda to maar.
Yeah. Oh God.
I was like, thoda to maar, yaar.
Yeah, but
this Sudhito went to took a dump and for a smoke didn't come back also. I was like, who is doing the show with us? The cameraman had fallen asleep. Oh God, it was too bad. But that happens, man. Sometimes. So heavyweights do have a tendency. Keep it together, dude. Keep it together.
Yeah,
These guys are going to fire us.
I mean, there was just way too much respect out there. But,
too much respect.
But two guys who are not going to respect each other are Derrick Lewis.
I hope not, man.
And Chris Dakos.
Derrick Lewis is one of those incredible people that, he's the most relatable person out there.
Yeah.
Bada top bhar hai, pet bhar hai, little chubs on the side, but when he needs to, he can turn it up.
Oh, man.
He will knock your daylights out. The way he hit Volkov was asleep before his head hit the mat. He was astral traveling.
Well, in fact, Volkov was winning that fight, and the last few seconds he knocked him out.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, it's just that kind of power that you can't train.
Absolutely.
It's that kind of power you can't train.
Absolutely. So Derrick Lewis is taking on Chris Dakos. It's going to happen on December 19th in India. Only on Sony 10-1, Sony 10-2 or Sony 10-3, one of them.
Depending.
But yeah, the co-main event is also a very interesting fight between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Belal Muhammad.
Nice. Belal Muhammad last fight, I think, was against Leon Edwards.
Yes.
He got poked very badly in the eye.
Yes.
And that is nasty.
And he couldn't continue.
He couldn't continue. But then he's taking on a very defensive fighter in Stephen Wonderboy
Thompson.
But he was also proved that grappling is his Achilles heel.
Yes.
So it's going to be, whether it's fun or not, time will tell, but it's certainly an interesting contest.
Absolutely. And we have the age-old Cub Swanson, who's also on the card. He's not having a very high-end opponent, so we're not going to be talking about that. But yeah, Cub Swanson is here. We've got Rafael Assunção, Ricky Simon, and Angela Hill, who are on the card.
Nice.
But the predictions for today are going to be for the co-main and the main event of the evening. In the welterweight division, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Bilal Muhammad. Chips.
I feel like I'm ahead of the curve with my last prediction, so I'm going to take it easy. I think I've done enough for the year predicting.
Yeah.
Okay, chal.
But if you had to choose.
I like Stephen Wonderboy, but I think Bilal will outwork him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the same. I think Bilal Muhammad will out-wrestle him. I completely think.
Correct.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-round fight. Very, very exciting. Wonderboy is going to keep it on his feet. He's going to try and keep it on his feet. But Bilal Muhammad is going to take him down and he's going to kind of work from there. Yeah. The main event of the evening, Chris Dakos.
Derrick Lewis.
You just want to hear the interviews, right?
I just want to see the interviews. I love this guy. He takes his shorts off after the interview. People asking why. He's like, my balls were hot. Ajeeb aadmi. This is national television. Toby. He doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit. He goes out there, knocks out people, and he takes his shorts off.
Yeah.
So as wrong as this sounds, but I want to see him take his shorts off. Not in that way. Andar pehna hai kapde, relax, guys.
But
yeah, there are like 8 things inside. They have to wear a cup, they have to wear inner, they're going to support a lot of things. He's just taking the bahar ka kapda.
So I'm going to be going with the same Derrick, the Black Beast Lewis. So,
no shorts, Lewis.
So yeah, no shorts, Lewis. So Mystic Chips and Superhuman Kamra are in the same boat with the predictions.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you help us out with the predictions and if you help us out, choose the right. If we are right or wrong, whether we are right or wrong. Actually, before we come to that, before I conclude this entire segment, we had actually a fan, a guy called Ankit Agarwal, who came and found us in Panchmukhi.
Oh, yeah.
This little watering hole where we sit and drink after our shows. And he comes up and he takes a picture with us saying that, hey guys, I recognize you from your live show and your podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, now we can go to people and say, we have ones of fans. Ones of fans. Toby, somebody said, oh, you have only one fan. I have more than you. One more than you, bitch.
Yeah.
Now what? I still got one more than you. So thank you, Ankit Agarwal. Thank you for following us. Keep watching all the awesome content. We're going to definitely send you some merchandise.
Absolutely,
soon.
yes.
But that being said, guys, don't forget to share, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, follow IVM Podcasts for a lot more content. We've got a lot of merchandise that we want to give out. So predict with us. Tell us if we're right or wrong. Join the conversation. My handles are at the Mystic Chips on Twitter and at Arjun Chips on Instagram. Somesh.
Well, you can find me on somesh.kamra on Instagram and somesh_kamra on Twitter.
Absolutely. Tons of merchandise to be had. Lots of t-shirts, mugs, the works. And perhaps we'll give you a personal shout out. You can come on the show. Maybe not. I don't make any promises yet. But definitely a personal shout out. That's for sure. That being said, this was another awesome episode. It was so good to be in the IVM studios here in Khar. It was awesome to see you face to face, my friend.
Absolutely.
And of course, a big shout out to SJ, my producer. She's been awesome. And the entire crew supporting us. We will see you next time for episode number 43, only on IVMPodcast.com. This has been Arjun and Somesh Kamra from the Fighting G.O.A.T.
Do you like true crime stories?
Do you like to learn about the people behind some horrible, awful crimes?
More specifically, women that may have committed these crimes.
Actually, Indian criminals that are women?
Then we'd like to welcome you to our podcast, Misconduct. My name is Raghavi.
And I am Nisha.
We cover themes like murder, dacoity, drug trafficking, financial fraud, kidnapping, and many more.
You can catch us every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcast.
सफर, रास्ते, मंजिल और मुकाम अक्सर ये हमसे कुछ कहना चाहते हैं, पर हम हैं कि अपनी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में इन्हें सुनने से कतराते हैं। नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है केशव चतुर्वेदी और मैं आपको ले चलूंगा कुछ ऐसे सफर पर जहां आपको एक नया नजरिया मिलेगा सफर और मंजिलों को देखने का। आइए इन किस्से कहानियों में डूब जाएं। हर मंगलवार और शुक्रवार